Good morning and welcome to News Lounge. I'm Georgie Chumley.
And I'm Catherine Tucker. Good morning.
And here today with all the sports and weather, we've got Connor Tobin. How are you, Connor?
Good morning, good, thanks guys. Coming up in sport, we've got the latest on the cricket as play resumed yesterday after the washout on Saturday. Also an interesting story between an agreement that's been reached between the AFL and Twitter. That's all coming up in sport.
Sounds great, thanks Connor. We've also got a story today coming from Laura Walkley, and with the Lost Boys Theatre Company, she's been able to catch up with them during their busy week of rehearsals, so that's sure to be a great story coming up.
And we've also got some great interviews coming up later this week, but right now we'll cut to Beck for the news. How are you this morning, Beck?
I'm great, thanks. Great to be here for another week of News Lounge. Making news today, Monday the 12th of November 2012. Australian researchers have made a breakthrough in the fight against cancer. Researchers at Melbourne's Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre discovered a molecule cancer cells can produce to fool the body's immune defences into ignoring the cancer threat. Dr. Andrews said although it's early days, the discovery could open doors to developing treatments to stop the deception. Ex-Greens leader Bob Brown has been banned from visiting Rwanda, accusing the nation's president, Paul Kagame, of cracking down on democracy and political opponents. Dr. Brown was due to speak at Rwanda's Democratic Green Party conference by giving his support to the Rwandan Greens. The Greens have been barred from politics since the country's 2010 election. The ban came after his visa supposedly had contradictory messages in his application. Brown has called on the Commonwealth of Nations to increase scrutiny upon Rwanda, the organisation's newest member. With the end of school and the traditional schoolies celebration only a week away for Year 12 students, Gold Coast Police are out in force to show teens what can happen if they disobey the law. 48 people have been arrested on 29 charges under Operation Sentinel-8, including drink driving, public nuisance and drug offences. Superintendent Paul Zebath said in a statement, "With schoolies approaching, it is important to look after each other, watch your mates and don't take part in risky activities." The Queensland Liberal National Party has suspended mining billionaire Clive Palmer after he called for the Queensland Treasurer and Deputy Premier to be sacked. Palmer labelled them the biggest crooks to be elected in Queensland and has lodged a formal complaint to the LNP executive. Mr Palmer says he is not concerned about losing his LNP life membership and still has faith in the party to lead Queensland. A 13-year-old boy has been charged with arson on Saturday after a fire at a multi-million-dollar shopping centre in Mackay. The district fire chief, Steve DePinto, told the ABC that the blaze was so intense more than a dozen crew were called on to protect the second half of the shopping complex. The boy, who has been charged, will be dealt with under the provisions of the Youth Justice Act and is due to face a court hearing today. The Courier Mail has released a report for the Crime and Misconduct Commission regarding a widespread fraud with doctors in our public hospital system. Allegedly, doctors are earning undeclared extra money from private patients using public hospital facilities, with the case of one doctor earning an extra $2 million. Premier Campbell Newman says he is concerned and has promised to get to the bottom of the issue. A Queensland sugar mill worker has died in hospital after being crushed in a workplace accident. The 46-year-old man was taken in a serious condition to Proserpine Hospital before being rushed to Mackay-based hospital by helicopter. A spokesman from the Queensland Police has stated a workplace health and safety investigation will go ahead. Brisbane residents are reminded to be aware of their surroundings after a 3-foot-long brown snake bit a woman at a Toombul train station on the weekend. The 35-year-old was walking through bushes during the evening when she was bitten on the ankle. She walked to a nearby shopping centre for assistance before being taken to the Royal Brisbane Hospital via ambulance in a stable condition. Police swarmed a university student film shoot at the Gold Coast yesterday after reports of a man being shot. An alarmed passerby called police after seeing the bloodied man in his underwear in the bush beside Arena Parkway around 1 p.m. Multiple crews responded, but police quickly realised it was Bond University students filming a 2-minute horror film. The students were given a stern talking to by police, but were released with just a warning. 4 Palestinians have been killed and 25 wounded after a missile hit an Australian Army vehicle in the Gaza Strip over the weekend. The incident resulted from renewed clashes between Israel and Palestine after Egypt stepped in to calm tensions 2 weeks ago. Palestinian militants plan to take revenge for the casualties, and residents have been warned to stay within 15 seconds of their bomb shelters in preparation for the conflict. The attack marked one of the highest death tolls for a single incident in Gaza in recent months. At least 13 people are dead and 40 injured after a 6.8 magnitude earthquake hit the city of Mandalay in Burma. The city went into panic as the quake hit, rushing from poorly maintained buildings in the poverty-stricken area. 4 labourers building a bridge, 2 people in a monastery and 2 others in a collapsed gold mine are believed to be among those dead. The quake was felt as far away as Bangkok. Another quake has struck off the coast of Guatemala this morning. Only days ago, 52 people were left dead by a tremor in the same area. At an emergency summit, West African leaders have agreed to deploy a 3,300-strong military force to maintain the control of northern Mali. The summit was held in the Nigerian capital Abuja after fears grew over the risks Islamist extremists pose on the region and beyond. Australian rock band In Excess have announced they are breaking up after 35 years of performing. At Sunday's concert, drummer John Farris revealed the news in tears. The group formed in Sydney in 1977, soaring to international fame over the years, with hits such as Need You Tonight and Suicide Blonde. That's all we have in the news now, but I'll be back later in the program with a quick recap of today's headlines and some more news. But for now, back to you.
Thanks, Beck.
Thanks, Beck.
How about those Gold Coast Uni students?
I know, definitely would have been an interesting sight to see, and hopefully those students would have got a very good mark on their assignment.
Yes, well, you'd hope so if it was realistic enough for somebody to call the police because they thought somebody was actually being injured there. But look, let's find out what's happening in the weather today. Over to you, Connor.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, Brisbane's in for a mostly fine and sunny day after a wet weekend, with mild and breezy southeasterly winds. We can expect a top of 26 degrees today with humidity around 58%. Both the Gold and Sunshine Coast will be mild and mostly sunny with a top of 23. Ipswich is in for a mostly sunny day with a warm top of 25. Around the state, Cairns can expect a humid and mostly sunny day with possible showers in the afternoon and a top of 27. A possible shower for Townsville and 30. Mackay will see clearing showers and 28 degrees. Rockhampton can also expect temps of 28 with mostly sunny weather. And Mount Isa will be mostly sunny with a warm top of 36. In other capital cities around the country, Sydney will be partly cloudy and a max of 26. Melbourne will have a top of 25, a partly cloudy day with a few isolated showers possible in the morning. A partly cloudy day in Canberra with light winds and 26. Perth will be mostly sunny and 27. Adelaide might see some morning showers but will clear in the afternoon and a top of 23. A few showers for Hobart and a top of 21. And finally, showers and storms for Darwin and a top of 34. Well, Georgie, it's good to see the sun is shining in Brisbane this morning.
Isn't it? It's much nicer after that wet weekend we had.
Definitely.
Well, it's time to go to the break, but please don't go away. We'll be having a look at what Brisbane Theatre has for us in store this week a little bit later. Sounds pretty exciting, doesn't it, Catherine?
It does sound fantastic. Love to always hear what's going on in the arts sector of Brisbane. There's usually quite a few interesting shows going on, so it should be good. All right, guys, we'll see you after the break.
Goodbye. Welcome back to News Lounge. Today we're crossing over to Laura Walkley at the latest rehearsals of the Lost Boys Theatre Company's latest rehearsals of their new production. Over to you, Laura.
I'm here at Metro Arts for the filming of Lost Boys' upcoming musical, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Today we have Dakota Strickland, cast member, joining us for an interview. Tell us a bit about the show you're working on at the moment.
We're working on how to succeed in business without really trying at the moment, and it's a show pretty much about the business world, and it was set in the 50s or 60s, around that era, but we're setting it in 2012, modern day, and so yeah, it's an exciting show, and it's just a light-hearted comedy, so hopefully people enjoy it.
How did you come to become a part of Lost Boys Theatre Company?
I was doing a musical Spring Awakening last year at QPAC, and one of the people I was doing it with, Tom Oliver, he told me about auditions for a Harry Potter musical, and I was like, I love that musical. So I auditioned for it, and then they were like, hey, we want to offer you Harry Potter. So I was like, sweet, that's awesome. And then my friend Tom was Ron, so it was pretty cool. We got to do that together, and that's how I got introduced to Lost Boys.
What was the audition process?
The audition process for a Very Potter musical was it was very relaxed, and it was a nice environment, so it wasn't too scary. But and they let me like play my guitar and stuff, so that was good. So it was good because they weren't judgmental in front of me. Probably were after, but it was good. It was a good audition.
So, do you have any favourite productions you've been in so far?
My two favourite productions that I've been in so far are a Very Potter musical with Lost Boys and also Hairspray with Harvest Rain. Yeah, they're probably my favourite roles I've played, Link and Harry Potter.
What type of training have you had in musical theatre?
In musical theatre, I trained with the Australian School of the Arts at my high school for 4 years, and I was singing, dancing, acting, and I've also done some other like just classes on the side doing that, and I guess doing shows and rehearsing, you get a lot of experience doing that. So.
Yeah, so how has Lost Boys Theatre Company helped you with your career?
Lost Boys has helped a lot in the way that when I went to see one of Harvest Rain's shows, The Wizard of Oz, the guy who played the lion, Matty, he's also in this show, he's playing Brat. He saw me and I was like, hey, you do a great job, and he was like, hey, you're Harry Potter, and I was like, I am Harry Potter.
So it's a lot about connections then?
Yeah, it's very connected, the whole theatre scene in Brisbane.
So how can people become involved in Lost Boys, and what kind of roles are available?
Well, we are holding auditions for a Very Potter sequel in the next couple of months, so that'll be on the Facebook site, and if you're friends with them, you just see all the updates, and they'll be holding about 2 weeks worth of auditions, 2 weekends worth, so everyone should audition and try and be in the show, because it's going to be awesome.
Where would you like to be in 5 years' time?
Ideally, in 5 years' time, I'd like to be famous. Either for music or for theatre or for TV or anything. I just want to be able to do something I like and will love and be able to be recognised for it. So.
Thank you for joining us today, Dakota.
No problem, thanks.
What year did you found Lost Boys Theatre Company?
Yeah, we founded it at the beginning of 2011. It was me and a friend of mine named Sarah Harvey, and we found the company at the beginning in February, and then we basically took us about a while before we started doing our first show, a Very Potter musical, which we did in February of this year.
Why did you decide to open up your own theatre company?
I feel that I had a lot of my friends moving to Sydney and Melbourne to find bigger and better opportunities, but I always felt that wasn't really. I felt that we could actually build in Brisbane, and we could actually, build more theatre in Brisbane, so that people didn't have to leave and they had opportunity in Brisbane. I also love theatre, and being able to direct shows with friends and people that I've worked with, it's just so much fun.
So what kind of opportunities do you give to many people in Brisbane who want to be a part of musical theatre?
Yeah, well, definitely. We've got a bunch of kids in our production now who are in high school right now, year 11, year 12, that kind of thing where they start doing productions in high school, and then they can kind of come into Lost Boys and then go into bigger and better things again. I feel like Lost Boys is a bit of a stepping stone than anything. We're amateur theatre and just trying to give anyone a go, really.
Where do you see Lost Boys going in the future?
I would love to be able to direct shows at QPAC one day. That's my dream, to direct shows at QPAC and to tour shows around Australia. Right now, the future of Lost Boys is just trying to take one show at a time, really, just to see, take this show and then build from this and then go to the next one and then the next one, and just hopefully be able to look back in 5 years and go, yeah, still standing.
Thank you so much for joining us, Josh. Pleasure having you.
Thanks.
That's all from Metro Arts. Back to you at the studio.
How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying starts on Wednesday and runs for 4 days at UQ's Chanel Theatre. And if you'd like any more information, you can just visit the Lost Boys Facebook page or website. It's really good to see some Brisbaneites getting involved in the local theatre scene, isn't it, Catherine?
Yeah, it certainly does. There seems to be plenty out there for everyone, so I suggest everyone go out and see some of our great live theatre. Some of the shows that are on at the moment are Chris Beckley's Children of War at the La Boite Theatre, which is opening on Wednesday. Fat Swan will also kick off on Wednesday at Brisbane Powerhouse and runs for 4 nights only, so make sure you get out and see that one. The Centenary Theatre is hosting Agatha Christie's The Unexpected Guest until the 24th of November, and the comedy Death Becomes the Sexy Detectives will play at the Judith Wright Centre of Contemporary Arts this Friday and Saturday night. So there's definitely plenty on there for everyone's taste, so I suggest that everyone should definitely get out there and see something.
I hear that you might be a bit of an actor in a previous life, Catherine.
Yes, I have done a little bit of acting myself, and it's a great experience, and we love having fantastic audiences to come and see us, so definitely always good to get out there and see what's happening in Brisbane. I love going and seeing a bit of theatre as well.
You haven't thought of joining up to the Lost Boys Theatre Company at all?
Well, I might have to go and see them and see what it's all about. It's after that Laura's package there, it looks like a fantastic theatre company, really, really great for any newbies in Brisbane, so if you are looking for some experience, any actors out there, you should probably hit up their Facebook page or website. Sounds like they're great people. They're giving everyone an opportunity.
It does. Connor, are you into theatre? Do you think you'll pop down?
It's really good to just see those obviously acting students really sort of motivated and determined. They're all both talking about like long-term goals and ambitions. It's just good to see, I reckon.
Yes, it certainly is fantastic. All right, guys. Well, it sounds great, and we will be back with the sports and news recap after the break. We'll see you then.
We will. We'll see you then. Goodbye. Welcome back to News Lounge.
Well, if you've just joined us, guys, we were just talking about the Lost Boys Theatre Company, which has that fantastic show that will be coming out very, very shortly. We got to see some of the rehearsal process with Laura Walkley there, so that was a really nice story, wasn't it, Georgie?
It was. It's a world that I've never been exposed to. I know we were just saying that you have, but it's very interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes before they get out onto the theatre stage.
It certainly is. It's a rare glimpse to actually see what goes on behind those rehearsal doors. All right, well, let's see what we've got over at Connor for sports today.
Thanks, Kathy. South Africa has finished stronger on day 3 of the first test in Brisbane at the Gabba yesterday. Australian paceman Ben Hilfenhaus says the big run chase and loss of early wickets doesn't mean Australia will play for a draw in their first test. Australia's run chase was less than impressive, reaching stumps at 3 for 111, losing Ricky Ponting, David Warner and debutant Rob Quiney. Play resumed this morning. Also, former Test batsman Greg Ritchie is no longer welcome at any Australian cricket grounds after making allegedly racist comments in a speech on Friday. Ritchie made the comments at a luncheon on day 1 of the first test. He maintains he isn't racist and had no intention of offending anyone. Ritchie says if people take offence to the comments, that's their choice. However, Cricket Australia says the comments were unacceptable, as racism has no place in sport, on or off the field. And in NRL, current Broncos centre Justin Hodges hopes to play fullback next season. Hodges says he wants to improve his fitness, already starting pre-season training, to ensure he's prepared. Hodges played fullback back in 2006 when the Broncos took out the premiership. He also played the position when he was younger and says he always really enjoyed it. In football, Brisbane Roar captain Matt Smith has apologised after a disappointing performance against Melbourne Heart last week. In a statement, Smith apologised to the team's coach, club and fans. The 4-1 loss has pushed the Roar to the bottom of the ladder. Melbourne Heart coach John Aloisi says despite Brisbane's performance so far this season, they're still a top side with a lot of potential. The Roar's owners are not as optimistic, supporting coach Rado Vidicic in his decision to cut members. They expect the cuts to improve performance, hopefully as soon as Friday when the Roar plays Sydney. And Sydney FC coach Ian Crooks resigned after only 6 matches with the A-League club. Crook says he isn't the right person for the job as the pressure began to affect his health. He was under pressure to deliver on Saturday due to a 7-2 loss in the previous week, but Crook copped abuse from fans after Sydney lost 3-2 against Melbourne, missing 3 goals in the final 13 minutes. The search is on for a new coach, with assistant coach Steve Corica stepping up until a replacement is found. The Gold Coast could be home to a new A-League football team after Mayor Tom Tate backed a bid placed by a group of Chinese businessmen. Known as the Gold Coast Dragons, the new team is expected to strengthen relations between Australia and China. The Gold Coast last team was kicked out of the league after a falling out between top football bosses and team owner Clive Palmer. AFL players now have verified Twitter accounts. The move will mean greater protection against identity theft and offer fans peace of mind when they're communicating with players. The AFL Players Association worked with the social networking site on the agreement to now see 425 players sporting the blue tick. And finally, we have some results for the Queensland Gridiron Playoffs. In the semi-finals at Wacol on Saturday, the Rhinos defeated the Bears 48-20, and the Stingrays defeated the Cougars 21-13. The final between the Rhinos and the Stingrays will be held on the 24th of November at Wynnum Manly. That's all for sport today, and it is interesting, guys, to see that story with the AFL and Twitter. I guess it's really showing us how prominent social media is now in what we're doing.
Yes, definitely. I hope it will help some of those football players make sure they're saying the right things out there in the public eye, because I know sometimes they do get in a little bit of trouble if they say the wrong thing, don't
Definitely.
they, Georgie?
They do. It's good to see there's some things being set in place to help them out. Usually the news is about the things that they are saying, not who's helping verify them. So it's all good. I'm glad. I'm glad for the AFL.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's a lot of going on in Australian, the A-League there in the football. That sounds very, very exciting. Oh, sorry, soccer, as most Australians will know it. But yeah, very, very busy. A lot going on there in Brisbane and Sydney and Melbourne, and yeah, it's all going on there, isn't it?
It is. Very busy.
All right, well, let's head over to Rebecca now for a wrap-up of today's headlines.
Thank you. In international news, Taliban insurgents have destroyed a vehicle carrying 6 people, including a newborn baby, on the Afghan-Pakistan border. Relatives of those killed in the attack said the mother was returning home after delivering her baby in hospital. The UN blames the Taliban for around 80% of the civilian casualties in Afghanistan that have occurred in 2012. Egyptian police have arrested 5 people suspected to be involved in a child trafficking ring in a Cairo hospital that sold almost 300 babies. A police official said the network had been running for almost 3 years and is searching for the hospital manager who escaped arrest. In Athens, around 15,000 protesters massed outside of Greece's parliament as politicians prepared to vote on the 2013 budget. The budget includes draconian cuts that must be passed in order for foreign aid to be released. It includes 9.4 billion euros in cuts and predicts the economy will shrink by 4.5% next year, marking Greece's 6th year of recession. It has just been announced that the government has passed the bill. And recapping our news for today. Researchers at Melbourne's Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre have discovered a molecule cancer cells can produce to fool the body's immune defences into ignoring the cancer threat. The discovery could open doors to developing treatments to stop this deception. Ex-Greens leader Bob Brown has been banned from visiting Rwanda, accusing the nation's president, Paul Kagame, of cracking down on democracy and political opponents. Brown has called on the Commonwealth of Nations to increase scrutiny upon Rwanda, the organisation's newest member. Gold Coast police have arrested 48 people on 29 charges to warn school leavers what can happen if they disobey the law. The Queensland Liberal National Party has suspended mining millionaire Clive Palmer after he called for the Queensland Treasurer and Deputy Premier to be sacked. A 13-year-old boy has been charged with arson on Saturday after a fire at a multi-million-dollar shopping centre in Mackay. A 46-year-old Queensland sugar mill worker has died in hospital after being crushed in a workplace accident. That's all from me today. I'll see you tomorrow, and for now, back to you.
Thanks for that, Beck. So it's pretty amazing stuff about the potential cancer cure or breakthrough anyway.
Yeah, that's very, very great news. And, there's a lot of people out there that it's a terrible disease, and there's no relief for people at the moment. So that's a fantastic one out there as well. But also, speaking of people looking after themselves, Schoolies Week will be coming up very soon. So make sure that everyone's prepared for that one down at the Gold Coast. So just be prepared if you do head down there. There's going to be quite a lot of teenagers there.
Well, after the police crackdown, hopefully everyone will be being very sensible on the Gold Coast. My little cousin's going. It's strange, to see when they grow up so quickly.
Yes.
But no, it'll be really good, and hopefully he'll have a really good and safe time when he's at school.
We'll definitely take those tips from the police about to stick together, everyone. Don't do anything silly, and just look after your mates. Really make sure that you're still having a good time, but just being sensible about it. I think that's the most important message there.
Yeah.
Of course, guys, don't forget next Friday we've got that interview with the founder of the Red Frogs. So Red Frogs is that organisation that obviously helps sort of ensure some sort of order around the Gold Coast. They, I believe, help out the students and sort of keep them all in check. So that'll be next Friday, the interview with that here on News Lounge. So.
Thanks, Connor. That's great to know. I mean, we'll have some fantastic information there on Friday as well. So if you are one of those people heading to schoolies, or you know somebody, or you're a mum of one of those kids, maybe tune in for that show, and there should be some really, really great info and tips.
The Red Frogs do really help out. I remember that they came into one of my friends' apartments when we were at schoolies and cooked them a pancake breakfast and brought all the pancakes along. So that's not bad.
Yeah, they help some of my friends clean it.
Really?
Yeah,
exactly.
What more could you want, Connor? Pancakes in the morning is always a good thing. Well, look, we've got some great interviews coming up in the week. Georgie, what else have we got coming up?
We do. Wednesday, we've got Councillor Helen Abrahams coming in to talk about a controversial building development in West End, which is just around the corner from the studio. So that should be really good. Make sure you tune in for that one.
Yeah, well, that's all we've got time for today. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Have a great day.
See you later. Have a good day. Goodbye.